that you deliver it with confidence and personal conviction. Because if you don't even seem like you believe what you're saying, then how can you expect that other people are going to also believe in what you're saying, right? It just doesn't make sense for them. And so, remember, action-oriented, logical, and backed by your own personal conviction is going to be key when you are making a hypothesis-driven assertion. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is different ways to actually respond when you don't know the answer to something. And we're going to talk about an example from an interview. You get asked a question that you don't really know the answer to. I already talked about an example from the work context. And then we'll also talk about an example from maybe a more personal context. And so, starting with the interview context, let's say, for example, that you got asked by someone, what might be the reason that sales of our product are declining? And right off the bat, they haven't really given you any information, and so you're a little bit lost. It's a very vague question, and you don't really know what the right answer is. And realistically, they're not going to expect you to know the right answer either, but they're still expecting you to use some kind of a structure and an approach to how you get to the bottom of that problem. And so one way that you can answer this by giving a hypothesis-driven assertion is to say, hey, so I think given that we don't have a ton of background information, but we know that sales are declining, I need to look into anything that influences the price of our products, as well as anything that influences the quality of our products, because sales at the end of the day is price times quantity. And so underneath the price, I'd like to understand, first of all, has the pricing of our products been consistent throughout the years, or are they coming down for some reason? If so, why? Also, what are our competitors pricing their products at? Is there some kind of a price war going on?
So, आज करेंगे मेरा all-time favorite song by One Direction, Night Changes. Simple four chords में keep up my first regular chord C, strumming pattern बहुत simple है, down, down, up, down, बहुत simple है, down, down, up, down.
Let's start it. All right. Fuck, man.
Down, down, up, down,
We got tonight.
down, up, down.
नहीं मिल रहा है भाई, कुछ भी नहीं मिल रहा है, कि कुछ भी नहीं मिल रहा है, समझ भी नहीं आ रहा है क्या क्या चल रहा है इधर 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 क्या चल रहा है भाई लोग. So man, can you tell me? It's hard, man.
Simple it down, down, up, down.
Pricing their products at? Is there some kind of a price war going on? Are their prices dramatically to try and undercut us and things like that? But then one is I want to understand, okay, so I you continue talking about different things that you would propose for the user in order to figure out what the actual problem is and ultimately get to a solution. And so you see how even though I don't know what the answer is, I am answering in a way that demonstrates that I'm being thoughtful and thinking about potential root causes. And I'm also proposing ways in which we can go and figure out whether or not this is actually a problem or what's driving it. And so now let's take an example from a personal context. So let's say, for example, that someone is asking you, hey, what's the deadline for submitting applications to a visa? And let's say right off the top of your head, you're like, what the heck? I don't know. I'm not keeping track of the deadlines here. But can do instead to be a little bit more helpful is to say, look, I'm not really sure, but given that historically I know people get their visas approved in the fall, I would assume that the application deadline is somewhere a few months before that, maybe in the summer. And so I know that X person or our mutual friend who recently applied would probably be a better person to talk to. Why don't you go talk to them, and I'm sure they can help you out. So even something as small as that is very solution-oriented as opposed to being problem-oriented. And you're giving that person a way to go figure out the answer to the problem. Even though you don't know the answer, you're still providing value to them. So you see the difference here between being problem-oriented and solution-oriented in your responses? If you do, this is going to be huge unlock you. And if you can just apply this solution-oriented mindset to your life and all your interactions with people, what you'll find is that people are going to find you very helpful as a person. They're going to appreciate you more, and ultimately, you're going to have a better reputation and get what you want out of life in general, not just your career. But all that is to say, today we've talked about how to answer a question that you don't know the answer to and still provide value. And if you can apply the hypothesis-driven assertions and solution-oriented answers to any situation, whether it's an interview or whether it's a conversation with your mom or your dad or your friend, or if it's a conversation with your boss, you will just be so much better off. That's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
सैया सॉन्ग बाय कैलाश खेर सिर्फ 3 इजी कॉर्ड्स में K4 को 3rd फ्रेट पे कॉर्ड्स हैं G, C and D. स्ट्रमिंग पैटर्न तो बहुत इजी है, डाउन डाउन अप डाउन अप डाउन डाउन अप डाउन। सैया सॉन्ग बाय कैलाश खेर सिर्फ 3 इजी कॉर्ड्स में K4 को 3rd फ्रेट पे कॉर्ड्स हैं G, C and D. स्ट्रमिंग पैटर्न तो बहुत इजी है, डाउन डाउन अप डाउन अप डाउन